Lesson 29. React to their motives, not their messages. In The Imitation Game, a biopic about Alan Turing, the father of modern computing, a school friend proffers the young Alan a book about codes and ciphers. He explains that codes are messages of what anyone can see, but no one knows what they mean unless you have the key. Confused, the socially challenged genius says, "How is that different from talking?" When people talk to each other, they never say what they mean. They just say something else, and you're supposed to just know what they mean. Only I never do. Communication is inherently difficult for all of us, not just Turing. Just look at what's involved. Person A experiences an internal state, a thought, an idea, a mood, that is invisible to person B. Desiring to express this state, person A imagines what might be required for person B to get the message accurately, based largely on person A's own unique history, cultural background, and ideas about what most people understand. Person A encodes the resulting message into language, choosing vocabulary, sentence structure, and the amount of detail to include. The message must then be expressed audibly and coherently. At the same time, person A gives off a complex second set of messages via non-verbal behavior, messages that may agree with or contradict the verbal message. Person B must hear the words and see the non-verbals, not always an easy task. Person B imposes meaning on the series of sounds using B's own unique history, cultural background, and experiences, many of which do not match those of person A. Non-verbals are interpreted with reference to person B's own cultural norms and the behavior of people person B has known before. Person B compares and attempts to integrate the verbal and non-verbal messages, but does so without the benefit of conscious oversight, resulting in a whole that is often ambiguous. He says he loves me, but he's turning away and looking over my shoulder. The actual message is then decoded into a guess about person A's actual internal state. The fact that every discussion doesn't quickly devolve into confusion is a miracle. The messages we receive are seldom exact replicas of the messages that were sent. They are a blend of intended meaning and the distortions produced by our own hopes and fears about what the person really meant. Our interpretations slide in so readily and automatically that it's easy to miss them. This affords us a perfect opportunity for the creation of unhappiness. One strategy is to presume that what we heard is what the other person intended to say. This alone is sufficient to create reams of confusion and discord. No need to stop there, however. Rather than sitting with the words spoken, we can put on our Sherlock Holmes hat and use the message as a starting point for a deep interpretation of the other person's meanings, motives, and overall personality. With every interpretive step away from the actual words of the message, we create more room for distortion. Error after error will creep in until the meaning we think we are responding to is entirely of our own making. When a friend asks for the salt in that particularly quiet way, for example, you can convince yourself that she has revealed her intense dislike of you, as well as her general snobbishness, when in reality she's just shy. And you're off and running. Having altered and inflated her message, you can react, not to what she has said, but to your guesses about her motives or nature. I can't believe that you have so little respect for me. The other person will then react with confusion, failing to understand the relation between what she said and how you responded. What? Then you can interpret her incomprehension as passive-aggressive denial. Don't play dumb. I know what you really think. She can become angry at being found guilty of an unknown and unintended crime. You're accusing me of something, but I don't know what. Then her anger will justify your own. You're upset because I can see through you. The lovely forest of your friendship will have been set aflame, and you can warm your hands as it burns to ashes. The closer the relationship, the greater the opportunity for misunderstandings and unhappiness. You can tell yourself with assurance that you truly know the other person, so you can believe in your interpretations even more than you ordinarily would. Married couples, for example, frequently come to know one another so well that they stop checking their understanding with each other. Two sailboats on virtually the same course. Only a single degree's difference on the compass will be thousands of miles apart after a few years. The result is that long-term couples often have tremendous faith in their understanding of the other person, when in reality they understand their spouse less than they do the plumber. One of the maxims used by relationship therapists is, whatever the argument is about is not really what it's about. A dispute over emptying the cat litter has nothing to do with the cat litter. It's about whether one feels valued or important. Half of marital therapy is getting each partner in turn to listen while the other has a chance to fully express his or her thoughts and feelings. Revelations about what's really going on inside one another can often produce the greatest progress. So, if it is your goal to be less happy, consider this your license to overinterpret. Don't check out other people's meaning or intent. Assume you know it already and react accordingly. Here are some signs that you're doing well. You frequently discover that people you once liked turn out to seem inconsiderate, disrespectful, or manipulative users. People often say to you, "I don't understand what you're angry about," or "I didn't mean it that way." You realize, or are told, that people are tiptoeing around you out of a concern about the opinion you might develop of them. You can't really read minds, but if you want misery, don't stay in your own head. Guess what they meant and act on it. It's like setting a match to gasoline.